Alright, y'all, this one is going to be over throwing hands in the prison system, man. So, I take a lot of these videos and stuff while I'm in my truck waiting on my wife while she's shopping. I'm just playing chauffeur, so while I do that, I make these videos. Throwing hands in the prison system, man. Like, the number of bosses that could beat the number of inmates in a fair, straight-up one-on-one fist fight is negligible. Small, near fucking none. I would say that there's not 90% of bosses could be whooped by, shit, 95% of the inmates, I would guess. You got to think, in the prison system, man, not everybody's just some young buck out here just really throwing hands in the street like that. I mean, think about it. Like, you have ladies working in the prison system, and they're usually the ones that are assaulted first, by the way. I've seen more women get assaulted by grown-ass men that were locked up than anybody else. No inmates were coming up to me just handling me, because I'm a big guy, for one. You know what I'm saying? But the fact of the matter is that there's older people, there's women, there's older women working there. There's just people that need a fucking paycheck, right? See, I don't knock a fucking inmate for doing a crime to get money and they end up in the prison, right? Just like nobody should ever knock me for going to work in the prison to make money. You know what I mean? I mean, we both just trying to feed our families. We just doing it in different ways, right? And you get what comes with that. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, throwing hands, most of the bosses there, they're not fighters. There are some guys that can throw hands and they can squab, and it would be some rounds going on and stuff. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of those inmates, they're doing push-ups all day, they're doing sit-ups all day. They're like warriors, right? They're in their cell lifting bags of books, and I mean, they got nothing to, and they have to be strong and stuff like that. And so, their life kind of depends on it at times, right? You got to be a warrior. You got to, if your gang goes to war with another gang, you got to be ready to sit there and get after it. And correctional officers, man, they're just trying to collect a check, right? They're going to try to run through these 12 hours and, go home to their family. And that's what most of them have on their mind. There are some bosses that can really throw hands. There was this guy that was, big into mixed martial arts and UFC type stuff. He worked out there and he would train some people on, tactics to, what correctional officers have. They're not going to win on a one-on-one fight, right? Most of them anyway. But what's going to happen is numbers. Within a certain amount, if you can hold your own for 30 seconds, 60 seconds, somebody's going to be there and they'll have gas and they'll pepper spray and it'll be a fucking mess and stuff, but you have to be able to hold your own for a certain amount of time. And then I told you I was going to do a video on who I think should work in prisons and who shouldn't work in prisons. If you can't hold your own for 30 seconds, 60 seconds, man, you shouldn't work out there, because the bottom line is you could get your fucking a mud hole stomped in your chest, and by the time a correctional officers arrive to help you, the inmate has done marched it dry. You know what I'm saying? So, it can be very dangerous. But the fact of the matter is, one-on-one fights like that, the odds are heavily in most inmates' favor. That's not to say all inmates. Some are small, some are weak. Some guys are more pacifist and they don't want to fucking fight. But a lot of guys are doing push-ups, are jacked. They're doing it for years, They're ready for nothing but war. Matter of fact, they're probably the most comfortable in an environment where they can be aggressive. You know what I'm saying? That's probably the most uncomfortable. They're most comfortable in those environments. While, most correctional officers they're not. That's not their fucking lifestyle or whatever. But yeah. So yeah, I there's one point for the inmates. Most inmates can whoop most bosses, generally speaking. Not all, not everyone, every time, but y'all get what I'm saying. All right, I'll holler at y'all.